Welcome to the Fairly Relatable Podcast.
It's like therapy with your best friends, minus the copay. Okay, so give us some kind of going back to it, some off the cuff red flags and then some hardcore deal breakers. Like for me, if I was to go on a date with a man and I was single and I showed up and his nails were long, I would walk out.
And
I don't mean long. I mean just a little bit of the white showing. I would be gone.
Aaron's cracking up.
Gone. I wouldn't even sit down.
Like, for real, what would you do? Like, I'm sitting there watching. What would you do? If you showed up, you sat down and his nails were long. What would you, realistically, what would you do?
Oh my God, I've never dated. Let me think.
We got to walk through this.
If I sat down and he was the most attractive man, everything good on paper, and the white of his nails were showing.
What would you do?
I might finish that date, but we would be done.
Okay. Yeah.
Or if I wanted to continue to date him, I'd bring it up.
Right. Like, what if he was perfect? Like, he's perfect on paper, he's perfect in real life, and his nails are 4 centimeters long.
I'd be like, have you ever thought about do you want me to cut them for you? I just couldn't.
Okay. So
I just
you'd bring it up. Okay.
What or his
so that's
toenails?
Not a deal breaker then. That's not a deal breaker.
That's Kara, he would have to be so A++ for it not to be a deal breaker.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's female, male, whatever. No one's A++.
Right. I'm trying to think of what mine would be.
Oh my gosh, wait, let me think of more. I think
so
I
many,
have
but
so
they're,
many.
Mean. Mine are just mean.
Like what?
Well, I'm not gonna. It's shaming to subgroups of men, and I'm not gonna.
Okay. What if there was a long nose hair out of one nostril?
I mean, yeah, and then you see him next time. It's okay, benefit of the doubt. He just has a rogue nose hair, and then you see him again, and it's still there. It's that's what. That's 100% a deal breaker.
I can't.
100%.
I can't.
No.
No, I couldn't, especially
long nails on a man looks like claw. It's
no, but even if it's just a little bit, even if it's just a little bit, oh, I just couldn't. There's so many more, but there's so many more. I can't think of it. Do it.
I have some great ones. I haven't even thought about this, but I'm going to just go off the cuff. Okay. Bad hygiene, body odor, just disheveled, not sexy.
If you
but if
baseball hat across the room.
But if he's hot and he has body odor, I might be into the body odor. But if he's unattractive with body odor, I couldn't. But I could do some good looking body. Ben's body odor doesn't bother me.
Well, that's called pheromones. That's
right.
That's different. Pheromones are attractive and that's normal what you're saying. But I'm talking about just poor hygiene across the board. Men who let their neck hair just grow to all lengths, in the back where it's dude, get a haircut and, maybe just clean it up a little bit. I don't know, especially if you're going on a date.
Yeah. Right. Put in at least minimal effort.
Minimal.
Have you ever, though, for real, have you ever...
What if he showed up in an Ed Hardy t-shirt?
That would be a huge red flag. I don't know about a deal breaker.
That's outside my demographic, I think.
Right. We've aged out of that. Okay, but
I just meant in general.
Oh. Have you ever legitimately been dating a guy and he wears a hat a lot and then he took the hat off and you smelled it?
Or he looks completely different. Have you ever seen a guy take a hat off and he's not the same person?
I've experienced
Seinfeld episode. I have a Seinfeld episode for everything.
I've experienced all the above.
They look good in certain light, but then
this is so gross. I've actually smelled someone's watch before.
Wait, the skin under, because they never take it off and they sweat. It's a thing.
Yeah. I was talking to my girlfriend Kayla about it and she just died laughing. I was like, no, it's actually a thing.
Yeah. The sweat, because it's so tight on the skin.
The look on our friend's face that's watching right now, she looks like she's gonna vomit.
Kara, would you walk out on a date if he had on flip-flops?
I wouldn't walk out, but the ick would be done. It'd be it's done.
What about if he had driving gloves?
Candace, who has driving gloves?
A guy I went on a date with from Match. He showed up. This was so long ago. He showed up in like we get in the car to just like go eat dinner or whatever, and he puts on leather gloves. And I didn't know.
I would
some
think
men
he's about
have-
to murder
That's
me.
what I thought. So I kind of just was like, well, it is what it is. So we drive to the
I'm
restaurant.
about to get strangled.
And then I have a glass of wine and I start feeling a little more like bold. And I'm like, so, because I knew I was never going to see this dude again, right? It was just like, ugh. And I was like, so tell me about the gloves. What's up with the gloves? He's like, oh, I have a really expensive steering wheel. And I'm like, say
Okay,
no more.
Ew.
Ew. I'm sorry. And
Ew.
if you have gloves because you have an expensive steering wheel, like that's great, but just be aware of a woman getting in your car might think you're going to kill her.
Okay, wait. So this is like goes back to I think a man that wants to take care of his things and takes care of himself, like I get it, like you should. However, when it crosses the line to doing too much to take care of yourself and too much for it, you lose your masculinity in my mind. Like I
Mhm.
also want a man that's just like I am who I am. I've begged Ben to like go get a pedicure and he's like, absolutely not. I've begged him to
Right.
put like lotion on his face. Absolutely not. Like there's little things that like would be fine, but if he had like a whole skincare routine,
Can you imagine Ben with a skincare routine?
no. But like there's just like a line about like
Yeah.
how masculine and like how like where's that line? Like if a man's so involved, like my mom used to date this guy and he would come over and go straight to the backyard and just file his nails.
Ew.
And I just don't know how you get like about that.
Does that?
It was disgusting. I had no idea how she could be like about this. It was like, ew.
That's so weird.
It was like slacks and a button-up shirt. Like he could
every time he came over. It's so
he
weird.
just like didn't want to interact with us. So he'd go to the backyard and he'd file his nails. And it was just
I think he's got bigger issues.
ew. Like
It's just
ew.
gross.
Yeah, I find qualities like that to be very almost like, sorry, this isn't going to be like the correct thing to say, but I find it feminine. And
Mm,
feminine in a man to me is a turnoff for me.
Right. Because I think at least for us, and we've talked about this, I hit 38, 39 and decided because I lived in my masculine energy, right? Like in my early 30s, I decided I was going to start a company and grow a company. And for me, being able to grow a company, I lived in my masculine energy of like doing and creating and going. And then around 38, I just felt like I am so tired. Like I want to live in a feminine energy. But in order to do that, your partner, and thank God mine did, was like, cool, live there. Let me take on more of the
Right.
masculine energy. So as I think women our age are more about finding that like lightness and that feminine energy and living in it. But then you do need someone to help like offset that. And I think there's something extremely attractive about a man that lives in his masculine energy and you feel protected and safe and cared for. And I think, sorry, but I think this whole not feminine, holy
like
shit,
feminization? Wait,
what's, oh my God.
femininity?
No, the feminine, oh my God.
What is happening?
Wow.
I feel like your eyes are going to start twitching.
I can't believe I just lost this word. Feminism.
Aaron's Googling it.
Feminism, right? The feminist movement.
Yes.
I think it's exhausting and I'm not about it.
I mean, I think women obviously should like be treated equally.
Right.
Right. But that's,
yes.
but yeah, I definitely prefer, and to each their own, but I prefer like a masculine energy.
Yes. And I have two things I want to say on that. Number one, I think as strong women, which I would tend to think I fall into that realm, you have to kind of have a balance of both. So like in my household, for example, I have to be the masculine energy of providing and being that hunter and the defender of the home in a sense. Not to get spiritual, God is our defender, but I have to be that masculine energy. But then I also have the feminine of being mother. Obviously, I'm a feminine woman. I like to be a woman. I enjoy being nurturing, caring, compassionate, all those things that a woman traditionally is. So I think that a guy friend of ours from high school, a very controversial friend of ours, which will remain unnamed, said to me,
Come on, Kara, you can do it. You know who she's talking about.
he said to me,
Do
"Hey,
you know-
Candace."
Wait, do you know who she's talking about?
Probably when she says this, I'll know.
He said, "When are you going to let a guy wear the pants?" And do you know what my
Does his name
response?
start with a B?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know he said that, but I knew when.
Well, my response was, "I will let a man wear the pants when he takes them off me." And I meant that
Mm.
figuratively, but literally. And more than this whole feminization of men issue that we're dealing with here and that I've experienced in the dating pool is the puer eternus.
Yep.
The puer eternus is way more rampant, if not equally.
What is that?
Puer eternus is Latin for little boy forever. It's like Peter Pan syndrome. They're just little boys. They're inadequate. They're incapable. They've had everything done for them.
Who is this?
What do you mean?
Like, where are these the men in the dating pool?
I think a lot of them are.
I wouldn't say like any of our friends that I know husbands said that.
No. But I find that especially like with Candace's,
So
you
it's
know,
like younger
journey-
than our age group?
Not always.
No.
It's
Single
like
men?
failure to launch. They're not capable. They're not like self-sufficient. They don't have initiative, and it's but like watching you go through, you know, your journey. It wasn't getting choked up. I was just choking. Literally choking. But watching you go through your journey, I see a thread of that. Do you know what I mean? And it's
That's why
sometimes
we're
it's
gonna be the
subtle.
picker.
Yeah, we're gonna be the picker and try to like weed out.
The what is this?
Puefis?
What did you call it?
Puer
eternus.
eternus. Little boy forever. Pizza pan.
So interesting. I didn't know there was a term for it, but
my
it's
dad knew it.
it's
yeah.
it's real.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are red flags. Deal breakers, I would imagine, are abuse.
Abuse, neglecting one's own children. Big one.
Mm.
Big one. That's a hard lesson because if a man is willing to neglect his own children, whether it's physically, emotionally, financially, any woman would be an idiot to think they're not going to do it to them.
And
Mm.
completely disgusted that they're doing it to their own kids.
It's such a turnoff.
What about, what was I going to just say? What about broken promises? Just feeling like,
Huge. Because
Yeah.
it's like lying. It's basically a lie.
Yeah, I've had a lot of experience in that world. Broken promises are hard because if you're an optimist at heart and you love somebody, you always want to believe the best about them,
Yeah.
right? And so the thing with dating too is people are always evolving and changing, especially in our 30s. As we hit 40, people are starting to become the person that they are meant to be. I feel like at that stage of the
they're
game.
being intentional about who they are.
Exactly. Well said. But I don't know. Some people aren't able to evolve to that step, and that's
You definitely need somebody that's capable of self-reflection and growth, right? You need to be with somebody that everybody has something to work on, but you need to be with somebody who's willing to take a hard look at who they are and work on it because nobody's perfect. It's just, are they willing to grow as a human and with their partner, or are they just, this is who I am?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
yeah, it's difficult. I also think we have a society full of narcissists.
Kara thinks that word is overused.
I think it is too, to some degree. I think that a lot of men in our generation do have narcissistic tendencies where they do fit more than a few criteria.
For
Or maybe I'm
sure.
just attracted to them. I don't know.
Oh,
Well, chicken, which came first, chicken or the egg? No, but yeah, I do think like, you know, people are so quick to, oh, they're bipolar and oh, they have narcissistic personality. And but what you're saying, I
so you're just
completely agree
like,
with.
don't call
also
them
a
bipolar.
therapist,
You're
so-
just like, just call it what it is. They're
Yeah, if you're
dumbass.
moody, it doesn't mean you're bipolar. Sorry.
Just means you're
It
dick.
just means you might be a douchebag or an asshole.
The common thread that I've noticed about these types of people is they're all enabled by a parent of some sort.
Right.
And the therapist over here will vouch for that that's typically one of the two reasons why somebody is a narcissist is
Yep.
they have a parent who coddles and enables.
Nope, I know a narcissist that is not the case.
Or it can be the flip where when they were basically when they were young, the parents placed unrealistic demands on them that they could never achieve. So they like internalized a sense of inadequacy. And then with narcissism, they don't actually feel good about themselves. They're overcompensating for deep rooted inadequacy. So it can go one of two ways.
Okay, so let's switch over a little bit and not completely bash men this whole episode. But
Yeah, I don't, we love men, just like cool men who have their shit together.
Who are emotionally awake.
Right. And like self-sufficient.
okay, so
And they take care of their kids.
God, I feel like this is a bashing episode. A very pointed. Oh, anyways, for being a woman in your early 40s with the 10-year-olds, what are green flags? Like, what are you looking for besides built man
A built man.
with a booty?
Besides Patrick Bateman.
No, I don't want Pat.
Who's that?
I've had
He's on
enough
American
of Patrick
Psycho.
Bateman.
Yeah.
I mean, it would help if he looked like Patrick Bateman. But I don't want a man who has a more rigorous skincare routine than me because mine is pretty rigorous.
I know your type, Gerard Butler.
Well,
What?
that's a name I haven't thought about in a long time. I do love Matthew McConaughey though, or Bradley Cooper. Matthew
Aw.
McConaughey seems like he might be kind of low on the hygiene aspect though.
Nah, he'd smell great no matter what.
What am I pretending? His wife is like drop dead. And
Have
she's-
you read his book?
No.
You would love it. It's actually, and listen to it because he reads it. Like totally,
like hey the whole time.
it is
Just keep living.
so good. It is so good. He is so intellectual and thoughtful, and the way his brain works, it's a phenomenal book. It's called Green Lights.
Yay,
Highly
Matthew
recommend.
McConaughey.
Highly recommend. You would love
Okay.
it.
You need to hashtag that for your episode.
Seriously.
Okay, so green flags, green lights, what are they?
Green flags. Someone who is spiritually evolved. And for me, that's very specific. Because I operate from a faith-based mentality. So having somebody with a strong faith is really important to me. That would be a green flag. Somebody who is
Have you ever thought of just meeting someone at church?
everyone at church is married. And that's a red flag if someone
They don't have like a singles group.
They do, right?
they do. I just haven't broached that.
She hasn't tapped into it yet.
Because they're maybe boring.
No, I
Then
just
broach in.
Maybe
No.
they've been hurt.
maybe. Somebody, so back to that, I think somebody who is spiritually and emotionally aware, knows who they are, is secure in who they are. That's a huge turn on. I think that a lot of people try to impress. There's that whole inadequacy aspect. So I think that a man who operates out of confidence is really, really attractive.
Okay, so let me ask you a question about that. Do you think that is something you can pick up on in 30 seconds or it takes time to tell? Because I think that's a 30-second
Mhm.
you can know.
Some people are really good at pretending
Mm.
Do you ever ignore your gut?
all the time.
Listen to your gut. Your gut will tell you in 30 seconds.
I would also like to say that maybe I'm colorblind. Have you guys ever heard that like people that are colorblind?
You mean the red and the green flag? I want to say you are.
I was.
I'm going to be the picker.
I was. Yeah. So I know we both, at least you and I both love Jamie Kern-Lima, and she talks about the knowing. That's one of the things. And I think as women, we oftentimes talk ourselves out of that women's intuition.
Yes, of course,
Right.
because sometimes what it's telling you is not what you want to hear, or intellectually you can reason your way out of it. But I know for me, and sometimes it like speaks up and you're like, shut the fuck up. Like that does not work for me. That is not how I want this to go. But it's never wrong. Like for you, because I know religion's such an important part of your life. I've also heard it described as like that's God's way of like directly communicating with you.
Right.
So listen.
Absolutely. I think so. And something that else that she says in her book Worthy that I just finished is rejection is God's protection
Mhm.
or redirection.
Or redirection. I've been reminding myself about that a lot lately.
Yeah.
Redirection.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just like knowing when to walk away. And sometimes two
Yeah.
things, like my very wise friend here says, two things can be true at the same time. Sometimes two people are just not compatible, and
Right.
that's okay. And we
Right.
shouldn't feel pressure to make something work when it's what you always say
A square in a whole circle.
something
Peg.
about pegging a hole.
It's like fitting a square into a circle peg or
Yeah, you can't fit a square into a circle.
peg.
Wait, no, that's a really common saying.
Right. I don't do well with common saying.
I know, but
Where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't understand what that means.
Kara, how can you not understand that?
Really? You don't know how I wouldn't be able to understand?
You guys, there's some things Kara has said over the years that she's forbidden me from saying on this podcast, but she has the best one-liners that one day I will share. But I think that's true. I think there can be two truths at once, and you can be really compatible in certain ways. Those ways just might not carry you through what you need in life.
That's right.
I also think, and granted, I haven't lived your path, but I think it's okay to call something what it is, and sometimes someone's just for fun. But it's not trying to make them into someone who they're not to fit your forever plan. But if you want to have fun with someone, and I don't mean just sexually, I just mean like go have a fun relationship, but not try to then create this person to fit your ultimate long-term plan. So just know it's not a forever thing. It's a short-term for fun thing. However, what you and I have also talked about is when you're putting your energy into one person, knowing they're not the right person, you're
Right.
preventing yourself from meeting the right person. You're not emotionally available for who else could be out there.
Right. And I think at least at our age, I think that we get to a point where fun just doesn't really cut it. That if you can't connect on an intimate level, like from heart and mind, all that other stuff just doesn't matter.
Right. Like even if they're as attractive as whoever you
Right.
find to be attractive, like for me, it wouldn't be Matthew McConaughey. It would be like,
Will Ferrell.
yeah, I was going to say that, but I thought no one would get it.
Oh, I get it.
You get it?
I mean, sorry. Hold on. Let me rewind. I've known that you have felt that way for like decades, and I've never really understood it.
Love him.
She loves
He's
Will
so
Ferrell.
fucking funny.
Like his stomach?
Okay, so here's the thing about me.
His hair?
Here's the thing about me. You can be, I think someone can be so attractive, but if everything else is an ew, like they lose
Totally.
their attractiveness hands down. I also think there's the ability for someone to be not the most attractive, but if they're funny or if they're smart or if they can have great conversation, that completely, I think for women, it completely changes it. I also think men, so annoying, but I think a lot of men get more attractive with age. They just age into attractiveness where women have, it's not as easy for women, but men, a lot of men look better as they age.
Yeah, they're like a silver fox when they get gray hair.
Yeah, but
More
I think there's a
put out
confidence.
pasture.
It's a confidence aspect too.
Mhm.
And I think that funny gets you like at least an extra 3 points.
Witty,
Like intellectual wit.
like you're fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when Ben makes his fast, funny comments, I'm just like, you're still good.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe someone who's not like traditionally good looking, like my mom has always said since I was a kid, I would love to date Jerry Seinfeld. And she thinks he's like
He's funny. He's
That
really
is
funny.
wild coming from your mom.
Why?
No, point being is that looks aren't everything. And I think the fact that you said that, it just speaks to your character. You're a person of depth. Although
That's right.
I don't think I could.
That's what Ben says.
You know, I could do like the Magatu version.
What's that?
Will Ferrell?
What's that?
Zoolander. Oh my gosh,
That's
that's the least attractive version.
Like when he's like,
Wait, who else is attractive? I'll tell you who's attractive. The guys in the smut books.
And
They're
you don't even know
hot.
what they look like.
You just create it based on the descriptions.
Fascinating to me.
You know who just fueled my last breakup was Adam Brody in that show on Netflix. What's it called?
Nobody wants this.
Yeah.
His
Wait,
his lines were written. His lines were Kara, when he
it fueled your recent
yes,
breakup?
because he
Wow.
looks at her and she's like, I'm crazy, I'm this and whatever, and he goes, I can handle you.
Yep.
Done. Melt.
Oh,
A
Melt.
strong man. That's masculine energy.
hashtag melt.
Absolutely. Who's emotionally aware, present, works through it, understands what insecurities can look like, and isn't just running away.
Right. Like a
Mhm.
little bitch. Sorry.
I think to be fair, we need to make it clear that this isn't for all men that we're talking. Like
No.
we're talking to some of Candace's most recent experiences.
I know a lot. I have my husband there. I have wonderful men in my life in different capacities. Like, if this is not by any means like
We're all a little
blanket statement.
tainted right now.
Tainted.
I can tell you, so if we're gonna go into like a great growing, evolving man story, I have someone in my life, and I'm gonna try not to cry, that I have seen grow into the most incredible present father and husband. He's spiritually awake. He's involved in his community. He's just like, he's the most hands-on dad. And he was a complete player 10 years ago.
Do we know who she's talking about?
I do.
Why aren't you dating him?
They're related.
Some of your brothers.
I have two amazing brothers that are both
Yeah.
like the epitome of masculinity, providing for their families. And I have a dad like that too. So I know it exists. It's just for
Right.
whatever reason
Right.
I haven't found in the last decade.
But you will. And you know what? Along those lines, there's a lot of great women. There's a lot of shitty women too. Like there's a lot of vapid,
Absolutely.
superficial, like it's all across the board. It's not like this is not like a men are trash thing.
No, absolutely. I've
We
heard
just
in dating a lot of guys online and stuff in the LA area, they've told me horror stories too about like women who insist on going to Nobu on a first date, that they
Right.
talk about, that they show up, that their pictures are so heavily filtered
right.
by Snapchat, which I don't understand. It's like I don't know. I have a friend who I love, and her boyfriend says that she catfished.
Who?
She's
Oh, we
hilarious.
can't tell.
No, somebody I work
Okay.
with, but
That's so funny.
yeah, so I know men experience things that on the other side as well, with women who are just driven by purely financial gain, and they're just so vapid with the fillers and the labels and wanting to go to nice places, and that's all well and good, right? But like, let's
Which
get real.
we're not dissing fillers, ladies, right?
No.
I love mine. But wait, you know what I've always thought is so funny? Women that have had like plastic surgery, but they don't tell their partners, and like they're young enough that they're gonna want to start a family, and the kid comes out with like a schnoz, and their husband's probably like, where the fuck did that come from?
Right. Or like when men have plastic surgery and don't tell their partner.
It's just like at some point you're gonna see a picture, the child's not gonna resemble anybody, and you're just like,
Right.
where's that
Think
characteristic
of
from?
the whole Kardashian family, but anyway.
Okay,
Real.
so like, what advice would you give to women who are in our decade and single and dating?
It would sound cliche, but I would just say don't settle and know your worth. And don't let the world define and the culture define what it is that you base that in. Because I think we all do to some extent, especially here in Southern California. And I would just say, just keep going back to your roots. The things that are important to you, write them down. And I have a list somewhere. I need to go back to it. Like 10 things that you can't live without. And it could be stupid stuff too, that maybe seems minuscule to some others, but you stick to that. You do not deviate from, especially when it comes to character and value system. Don't
That's
ever
huge.
compromise.
Value system is huge.
If you dated a man with an ex-wife, would you want him to not really have a relationship with her or be on really good terms with her?
Ooh, that is tough. I would say it depends on why they split up, because I've had both. And The latter can sometimes cause insecurity and jealousy issues, especially if they sleep at their house.
Oh my god.
Who does that?
So weird.
What? Red flag.
Yeah.
Huge red flag. Run.
Huge.
Like, don't they have a house?
I'm going to plead the fifth. I think a super toxic relationship with an ex, which I've also experienced, is a huge turnoff. And it eventually, even if in the beginning it's like, oh, great, he doesn't talk to her, he doesn't have to deal with her, but you don't want that, especially if children are involved. There should be a decent relationship for the sake of it and the example to the children that it's setting.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah. I think having the children be first priority would be like what I would want to see.
Absolutely.
If you see a guy on social media, sorry, not social media. If you see a guy on a dating app and he's using like bad grammar, like
Oh,
your
don't even contact.
there and there, like what's your take?
Wait, give her your mic.
Is that like red flag, deal breaker, or just
I can't wait to see you too, T.O.
Ew. I don't want to say deal breaker, but it's definitely an ick. I don't know.
just
Dumb is not a turn on.
Like if he wrote to me, I want to see you too, T.O., I'd write back, me too, T.O.O.
right? In
Yeah.
all caps.
My mom and I, if my brother ever does his grammar wrong, immediate call him on it. Like
It's a thing. It's like on coffee mugs.
he's
and
gotten
stuff.
so much better too because we like don't let him get away with it. Like I think he's fixed.
I'm gonna be really honest. Like I did the online dating stuff. Like it was pretty much I feel like a deal breaker.
Mhm.
It's like I couldn't. I'm sorry, if you don't know the correct form of their
Or your.
or your, like, it's like,
We're not compatible.
no. Because again, value system. I value, like,
People hear you right now?
yeah, there's a whole mic. It's not like just
It's not just the
tip.
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 JS. JTS.
It's not just this part right here.
Yeah, no,
Be JTT.
JTT.
Just the tip. I never thought about the fact that you can talk it to the
I
side.
think
We're gonna hear about it if you can't.
Justin said they're dynamic mics, meaning you can like move them around. and
All right.
stuff. But anyway, like I value intelligence to that.
Yeah.
That's
Intelligence-
bare minimum. guys.
Intelligence is really attractive. Like when a man can explain something to you, not mansplaining, but just like explains like
What's the difference?
I think mansplaining's like talking down to you
Mhm.
instead of you being like, wait, how does this work?
Right.
Like for me, taxes.
Your husband's also a CPA.
Right. So he will go on and on, or I'll hear him talking to other people about whatever language he speaks when he speaks tax, but like he knows a lot about something or building things. Like when they can talk about something that you know nothing about and you know they have a certain like knowledge base.
Yeah, that's
And going back to being funny, I don't think you can be funny if you're stupid.
that's what I'm saying. It's into this is the first thing I noticed about Justin was he was so witty, but it was like intellectual wit.
Yep.
And it was never predictable. Like
Mhm.
everything that comes out of his mouth, it's like novel and new.
Full circle. Justin has so many one-liners. He dubbed something, and I saw someone like should be sued for copyright. He said, back full circle to
He's
the
gonna be
fetishes.
so validated after this.
He said one time, a long time ago, there's always someone somewhere willing to beep
JO,
to anything.
100%.
And it's true. Full circle.
Yeah.
When it comes to fetishes, he was right.
You think that's
Yeah.
novel? I think that's been going on for
Since the beginning of time.
But
Yeah.
he's talking like even like inanimate objects, like
Yeah.
like stuffies.
right. Or like microphones. Or
I don't think that's new.
no, it's probably not.
I just think
But
it's like more known
You
because
know
of
there's a
social
guy
media.
somewhere that's turned on my
It's just
mic.
like
You know it.
JTT.
I don't think there's someone that gets off to mics.
You really?
I think they might use mics to get off.
My Strange Addiction, the guy that was in love with his red car. What was the name? The name of the car was Chase, and he'd feel the undercarriage. It was.
There's like a scene where he's laying under it and he's like,
You don't think he's an actor?
it has, it has a car bra. Remember those from the 90s, the bras?
It's
It
not
was like a Beretta.
It's like 100% real. There's people, it shows them eating couch cushions or like eating their hair. They just sit in like, and I
They're
know
just like-
obviously like I'm in the line of mental health. I know there's stuff going on, but it's not acting. They're actually
Yeah.
engaging in this like bizarre, strange addiction. He's addicted to his car.
Yeah.
But that's like mental
Deal
health.
breaker.
Is it though, or is it just a fetish?
What if it's a really nice car, Can? I don't know. Define fetish.
Right. Fetish versus like,
Mental health.
right.
Remember, have you guys watched Sex in the City?
Yes.
He's like a stand-up hot politician, and then she gets in the shower with him and he's like, pee on me. Do you remember?
I remember we have a friend that did that in Cabo in the shower.
I don't think that's that weird.
Wait. Okay, sorry, Kara, we don't want to knock on your fetish. No, but I remember in the scene, Carrie's like, she like freezes.
High five.
Erin also doesn't have her shoes on today.
This is a shoe-free zone.
Can I just say it's so fun having both of you here?
I know. Erin refuses to come on the podcast, but
Just like wave with your foot or something.
no one really watches. Okay,
She's the set director.
any last parting words?
Thanks for having me. Thanks for allowing me to be your first female guest.
Yeah.
There's so much more we could tap into if you wanted to go NC25.
There was something that you said where I was like, that's a whole, I don't remember what it was, but there was something that would literally be like a whole other episode that she could definitely weigh in on. I don't know.
Oh, Erin's written down so many topics.
Yes.
Okay, Erin's hired. Okay, wait. And then
Or
for
she's over there
anybody
taking notes.
that's listening, in all seriousness, if you can help me convince Kara that we should have a side foot fetish situation going on, I'd really appreciate
I
it.
think we already have one going.
Have you made $1 on it?
Not yet.
Fine. You know what? I'll do it and you only get 10%.
Know about it. Just do it.
I was gonna say your pedicure looks that Lincoln Park. I'm digging it.
All right, I'm gonna start it.
It's not crazy,
Do you know what it would fund? Like,
thinking
imagine
about-
taking out the expensive dance and just know it's like covered.
No, something
We
about
could
the thought of
travel.
what people do looking
Ooh.
at my feet. I don't know like the acts they would be engaging in. It kind of weirds me out.
It's none of your business.
It's my foot.
Kara, you don't think people could go onto
That's
your
just being
in?
put out into the atmosphere.
Hold on, you don't think?
my
Wait a
foot.
second. Is there not a picture of you in a bikini on Instagram somewhere?
Are
you-
you implying?
Yeah, I'm
No.
exactly. You don't
I'm
think?
not okay, but I'm not capitalizing off of it.
But you should be.
Mm.
Why are you leaving money on the table?
I gotta like. I was trying to think of a foot pun.
All right.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
How the hell did you get your lipstick to stay glossy?
And it like matches your
It's
dress
Fenty.
perfectly.
I have a Fenty on too, but it's gone.
And thank you to Erin for being our set director.
I think Erin just
and-
got hired as producer. She's been taking notes. All right, guys.
Till next time. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, here's the deal. If you like what you hear,
And we know you do.
be sure to like, subscribe,
And write us a review.
that rhymes.